Just to let you know, I have started the recording. Should I introduce myself?
The floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Shaima. Unlike what it says, Ahmed, I'm Shaima. I go by Shaima. I am the co-president of the Sports and Exercise Science and Coaching Society, and I am in first year going into second year of sports science.
Hello, my name is Usha. So I am in my second year going into my third year. Just like Shaima, I am actually I'm studying sport exercise science at London South Bank University.
How about
you? Oh, sorry. I wanted to introduce myself. I got a bit carried away there. I'm trying to change my name on here. I don't know why it's that, but anyway. Do you want me to introduce myself? Or?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't want to put my hand up. Put my hand down. Hi everyone. I am Zainab, also known as Z, also known as the Bulldozer, and we'll probably talk about that a bit later. I am a neonatal nurse by profession. I'm a rugby player by passion. I recently won the Grassroots Sportswoman of the Year given to me by the Sunday Times and Vitality. And yeah, rugby is my passion. I'm really passionate about getting more ethnic minorities into playing rugby. And I guess that's me in a nutshell. You may hear kids in the background, by the way, because I've got 3 kids, just to let you know.
Don't worry, I'm nephew and nieces. All they do is cry and shout. So I feel your pain.
Okay, so this is our first ever podcast. We are a bit rusty. We don't really know exactly what we're saying, but we'll try. So maybe why don't you start off by saying how you got into the sport and what sort of things you experienced when you first got into rugby, and I guess how your family reacted.
Just a bit about that, really, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll take you like way back to sort of just me as a person. So I was born really early, born premature. So I was meant to be born in May, but I was born in January, so I was like super early. I came into the world like tiny. Hold on one second. Let me just make sure she's quiet. It's a bit. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you can edit all that out. Where was I? Okay, yeah, so I'll take you back. So I was born premature. So I was born at 26 weeks. So I was born about 5 months earlier than I was meant to be born, which is pretty early. And I was in a hospital for months. Eventually, I was strong enough to leave the hospital. So my mum used to always tell me that I was so tiny and I could fit in the palm of her hands and all that kind of stuff. So that sort of inspired my passion to become a nurse. So that's what I am doing, as my profession as a nurse. Rugby came into my life at the age of 14, I believe. The first time I ever touched a rugby ball was at the age of 14. And rugby was never part of the curriculum at school. It was like, netball, badminton, tennis, rounders. But my PE teacher was a massive rugby fan. So she just came in with rugby balls and she was like, girls, we're going to play rugby today. And everyone was like, what? Like rugby, And I was like, okay, like, let's give it a go. I never knew anything about it. I just knew on TV it looked really messy, like men just, piling on top of each other. I didn't really understand the game. But I thought I'll give it a go. So that was my first introduction to rugby. But I never actually joined my first team until I was 17. My PE teacher actually helped me get into my first club because I was studying physical education at A-level because I absolutely love sport. And and that's sort of where my rugby journey began at 17 when I joined my first club. That's when I sort of took it a bit more seriously. But the initial PE session when I was 14 actually helped me make that decision at 17, because I think if I didn't have that PE session at 14, rugby wouldn't have been on my radar at all. So I always, speak highly of my PE teachers, because actually if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have found rugby.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Because even me, when I was in school, again, like I play netball, your basic curriculum sport, whatever. I play netball. So I actually got introduced to netball from my PE teacher as well. So if it wasn't for that, then I don't think I would have been playing either. So I definitely do think like teachers can actually have a massive impact on like your sporting experience as well. And just like you said, I was really big in sport, you know, studying A-level PE, and obviously because of that I've just gone into like sport degree as well. So yeah, no, I definitely, I can see that. I definitely do agree with you.
Yeah, that makes sense, because like alongside Usha, I also got introduced into netball, but also indoor rowing, which is my favorite sport. And since then, like it's been all about rowing, netball, and since I've come into uni, I've been focused more on indoor rowing and actual rowing. So yeah, PE teachers make such a big difference, I guess. It also depends on like how they teach.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I feel like at that time, I didn't know how much of an impact they were having on me until after I'd left school. I'm like, wow, like my teachers had a massive impact on how my life is planned out really. So super grateful to them.
Yeah, no, that is a big thing. As you've said, you're obviously a nurse profession, like that's your profession. So I can, so because you play rugby as well professionally. So how did you manage to do it all? Like, how did you juggle the sport and the studying? Because being a university student is very overwhelming. So just wanted to kind of know how you managed to do it.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm not a professional rugby player. I want to become professional. That's sort of the journey that I'm on. And we'll talk a bit about that later on, and I'll explain this to you in a bit more detail. Obviously, it's a podcast, but I'm just showing the girls an illustration of me one day playing for England, inshallah. That's the thing. Anyway, so yeah, so I think at uni, so going back to uni, so I think I'll mix that in with the sort of struggles that I faced, because uni, I would say, was it really opened my eyes to rugby culture and rugby community, because prior to then, I only played rugby for 1 year and I really didn't know what I was doing. But going into university, it was a shock for me, because first of all, I was even scared to join the uni team, because I was like, oh my God, like it's a new environment. Are people gonna like me? I don't know. You know, I wear a headscarf, I'm a Muslim, are they gonna accept me? Like all of this stuff was going through my mind. But so I let it pass. The second semester I was like, come on, Z, you've got to just do it. And I just turned up at the training session, and it went really well. Like we're doing non-contact stuff, and then I just went in and tackled someone. I wasn't meant to, because it was touch, and but I guess it was good that I did that, because I thought, oh, okay, you know, she seems like a decent player, let's put her on a team, sort of thing. So I overcame the fear, because I just thought, just do it. But what was tough for me was that being the only Muslim on my team, not only that, being the only Black person on my team as well. So imagine, like, you know, looking different. I'm wearing my underlayers, the girls are wearing their shorts, I'm wearing like my sort of leggings underneath. Like I just look different on the pitch. So all of that stuff was playing on my mind, and you know, the drinking aspect of it was really difficult for me, because rugby is a culture where like everyone's always going for pints, like always going to the bar for pints. It's just always happening. And especially at uni, you can imagine, like uni already without sport, people want to go out and drink and get drunk and go to the club. Not everyone, but some majority of people do. And then you've got rugby culture, which is alcohol, pints, and then putting that together, and me as a young Muslim girl sort of trying to find my feet. And it was just mind blowing. Oh my God, like what is going on, you know? So I really had to what I did, actually, I joined ISOC. I intentionally joined Islamic Society at uni, because I thought, you know, I don't know anybody at uni. I want to be able to play rugby, but I also want to keep my foot firmly in the ground and surround myself with people who are the same faith as me, and I can sort of reach out to at any point, and just have that community, that sort of safe space. And that worked out really well. But it was a bit weird, because sometimes I would see the girls from ISOC and I'd feel shy to approach them if I'm in rugby kit, or I'll see my rugby friends and I'd be shy to approach them because I'm, you know, wearing a abaya or something. It was just, it was really weird. And I remember one time I was on campus and they had a freshers fair, right? I had a freshers fair, and the rugby girls were trying to recruit players. And I saw them and I thought, okay, so I think I've just came back from some sort of event with ISOC, and obviously I was there because obviously at training, I'm in my rugby kit. If I'm off the pitch, I'm wearing like, sometimes I wear my abaya. I just look a bit different, right? So I was so scared to like approach them because I thought, what if they don't recognize me? Like, this is the real Z here, not the rugby player Z that they see. Like, should I? And I thought, I want them to see me in my natural state, and it just would make me feel better. But I was literally standing there. Should I go? Should I not go? Should I go? Come on. I was literally pep talking myself. I was literally, and I was like, hi guys. And they're like, oh, hi, see you. Like, oh, see, we didn't see that. I didn't recognize you. Yeah, I'm fine. We had a casual conversation. It went fine. I was like, that's that. Like, fine. And I just walked away, and it was that. But I put so much pressure on myself. You know, I was going through like thinking, would they accept me? Like, would they like me? And actually, as well, it sounds a bit forward, but there was a lot of stuff in the media about like terrorism and like, you know, bad portrayal of Muslims. So that added to my anxiety of being who I am in front of my rugby friends, because I wasn't sure if they would think I was like, you know, part of the Muslims that were portraying the TV. I really was scared that they wouldn't accept me. But all of that was in my head, because actually they just saw me as Zainab and, you know, from who I was, and it was fine. It was just me putting that pressure on myself. Yeah.
No, I think obviously I'm a young Muslim woman as well, but for me it's not as difficult, because when people look at me, they might not think I'm a Muslim woman because I'm not wearing a headscarf. They probably think, you know, I could be Indian, I could be, you know, different religions, so they don't really realize. But it does play in my mind as well, because as you've mentioned, university and alcohol, and sport and university and alcohol is a massive thing. Like, I'm not sure if Wednesday was the days where you had your university matches, but on that Wednesday evening, that was literally it. All the teams were out, having fun, going for drinks, and sometimes they would ask me, oh, why don't you come out? I would always try to avoid the social aspect of it, because I just didn't know how comfortable I'd feel in that situation. So I'd always try to like shy away from it. And then I didn't want to seem as though I was being antisocial, and I didn't want to anything to do with those girls, because they were really nice girls, but I just didn't feel comfortable. So yeah, it's crazy. And I think you just, as you've said, you just need to just go for it, because we just overthink the situation a lot of the times. And they don't.
Yeah, 100%.
So if we are to talk on just like student level, just in general, how did you obviously studied as a neonatal nurse, you trained, and you also had your own personal family life, and possibly if you worked a part-time job as well. How did you kind of balance everything out?
Yeah, it was quite tough. So at uni, I had a really good group of friends, Muslim sisters, that would allow me to stay, you know, in their house. If I had like, you know, deadline of some sort of assignment, I would stay, because actually I was commuting from London to Hertfordshire, to University of Hertfordshire. But sometimes when I needed to have assignments in, I would stay with them and get it done. So I didn't have to, you know, it was just easier to be on campus and go to the library instead of going all the way back home to London and coming back. It just wasted a lot of time. So I really had a good support network that helped me manage. I was working part-time at the weekend as a carer, so I used to do caring for like elderly and like disabled people, and that was tough because it was one of those jobs where I had to go from house to house, and I didn't have a car, so I was just like walking. It was just one sort of area I had, and I was just going from house to house, giving them care and making sure they're being fed, giving medication and stuff like that. And then during the week, I'd had uni, and then on Wednesdays, we had like training, and on Wednesdays we went to go play a match. It was full on, I can't lie. To be honest with you, I don't know how I did it. Like, I just did it, but it wasn't easy. And I feel like I'm that type of person that I like keeping busy. If I have nothing to do, like, it's just weird. I always like to do something. And actually, I got married on just after uni. Like, actually, the month I was graduating, I think in August, like a week or 2 weeks later, I was you know, going to get married. So everything was just like so quick, in a sense that I finished my degree. I was, you know, getting married. I was finishing off my nursing placement, And everything was a lot at that one period of time, that summer, but I just got on with it, really. And, you know, I'm actually happy when it worked out that way. I did lose quite a lot of weight in my last year of uni. I think it was the placements, and you know, I was doing a lot of training because of rugby, and yeah, I lost quite a bit of weight, but not intentionally. It just happened because I was just non-stop. But actually, uni rugby was probably the best time. I loved it so much. I made the most amazing friends, some of which I still talk to up to now. Great memories with them. It's where I really developed as a rugby player, and my passion for rugby really grew at uni. And you know, like you said, like I had really like there were lovely girls, lovely bunch of girls that never did anything to make me feel awkward. I think it was me putting pressure on myself. And things like, little things like, for example, so in rugby, when you win player of the match, after the match, you down a pint. That's sort of, the winner gets a pint and you down it, right? And they all cheer for you and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I used to play quite well in rugby in uni, and I used to always get nominated for that. And it's not my team nominate me, it's the opposition that nominates. So whoever team I play, if they think I played well in my team, they will nominate me to have a pint. And it kept on happening, and I was like, I can't drink this, like I can't drink it. And it happened quite a few times until I feel like my last year, I don't know, something clicked, and then they offered me a non-alcoholic drink. They offered me a non-alcoholic drink to have, and that memory stays with me up to today, because it was such a nice gesture, because it meant that they recognize that, okay, I don't drink. It doesn't mean you're not going to be a part of this. We're going to give you something else that's non-alcohol, so you can still feel part of the team. And that was nice, you know. But I had the lack of confidence to tell my teammates. I don't know if they actually knew I was Muslim. I don't know if they actually registered it. And I actually never said to them, I am Muslim, I don't drink, I don't like being in like clubs or anything like that. They never said that, and they never asked. So we just kept it moving. But now I'm definitely more confident in my identity, and people know, like everybody knows now pretty much. And if you don't know, I'll tell you. But back then, I felt like you want to fit in. You don't want to be the odd one out, so you don't say anything. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely agree with you. Like sometimes it's just a bit awkward, you know, having that conversation when everyone's having, you know, a good time. You're like, you don't want to be bringing religion and having this conversation and make it very awkward. So it can be very like, oh, I don't know whether I should say it or not. But as you've mentioned before, when you went to your training, you were always the one that had the underlayer on, the hijab. So back then, I'm not sure, like I feel like recently now, like the Nike Pro hijab has become a very common thing. I see athletes wearing it, I see it being sold and stuff like that, but it's a quite recent thing. So I'm guessing you didn't have availability to like sportswear like that. So how did you manage? Were you ever told you can't wear it when playing? Was that ever a case?
That's a really good question, actually. So I had an incident when I was 17, so just before I started uni and I was playing rugby. I didn't even know if you could wear a headscarf and play rugby. I had no idea. I just did it. And actually back then I used to wear like, probably not the full hijab like this, but I'd cover my hair in like in turban.
Yeah,
kind of, yeah. And I was playing rugby. Obviously, rugby is a physical sport. Like is really like physical, rough and tumble. But you know, I'll just tie it as tight. I literally almost tie my brain cells. Like so I was doing, because I didn't want it to come off. But one time, I was playing rugby, running to score a try, and I scored the try. Got up, and like everyone was just like not really cheering. I'm like, what's going on? And I felt the wind in my scalp, not knowing my headscarf had come off, right? And I had no idea until I got up and I was like, oh my God, like my hair's out. And I was so embarrassed, but my hair was not done. I think that was I was having such a bad hair day, yeah. And it was like all day for people to see my hair wasn't done. Anyway, so I just went to go and pick it up, put it back on my head, and then carried on playing. So since then, to avoid that, I wear this thing called scrum cap. You may have seen it. It looks a bit like a helmet, but it's soft, it's like cushiony. And rugby players wear it to protect their ears, especially when they're going into scrum. But I wear it just to keep my headscarf on. And that's been like my saving grace. Like I haven't had an incident where my headscarf come off since that time, because I literally put it on secure. It's Velcro underneath the chin, and it just stays secure throughout the game. So you know, and actually there came to a time where I almost left rugby. This was I think it was after uni, and I wanted to know. So after uni, I became qualified as a nurse. I just thought, like, there's no uni rugby anymore. If I want to play rugby, I have to make the conscious decision to find a club to play for. So do I want to do that? Do I want to experience the same experience that I experienced in uni, with being odd one out, being the only Muslim, all these kind of things? A lot of stuff was going through my mind. And I thought, actually, what does rugby say about hijab? Like, I have no idea. Let me go and find out. So I went online, I looked through the laws of rugby, and it said there, like in black and white, that, you know, you can wear a headscarf to play rugby, as long as it doesn't harm you or other players. And I thought, like, this is just incredible. Like, I never actually thought that I should go and check. I was doing it anyway. And I wanted to also wear my hijab properly, like, you know, like how I'm doing now, rather than the turban. So it was important for me to know whether or not it was accepted. And it was. And I remember being really emotional seeing that, because, you know, I felt like I was the only Muslim girl in the world that played rugby. You know, I really felt that. And for me to go and look at the laws and it's saying that you can wear a headscarf, I kind of all of a sudden felt, wow, like rugby does accept me. Like, even though I'm the only one, I feel like I'm the only one, I can wear a headscarf. I don't have to separate my faith from the sport that I love, you know? And that was very important. That was a pivotal moment in my rugby journey, I think. And after that, you know, I just started to become more confident within myself, within my rugby, because I felt like I belonged. And, you know, since then, I've actually met other hijabi rugby players. We're not many, I can't lie, but I'll say I'm probably the most out there, but there are some that I'm trying to, you know, stay in contact with. And, but yeah, it was really lonely at the beginning, a lot, yeah.
No, it's nice to, you know, it's nice to hear that, like, sports are accepting, and that, you know, it's not just for your, you know, basic, like, Christian sort of, you know, religions like that. It's not like that. Like, you're accepted, you know. It's just nice to feel a part sometimes. So yeah, no, I can imagine that being a very big thing, and I'm guessing it encouraged you to stay into rugby. So yeah, it's good to know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think seeing more girls who wear the headscarf or who represent our religion and our background, our main background within sport, it's like, doesn't matter what sport it is, like it could be rugby or football or rowing or whatever it is, and then you see them excel and it's like, one of us are actually there. We're up there, we're on the podiums, we're on TV, we're representing ourselves and the rest of the girls who want to be like us too.
Exactly, and that's a big part of this dream that I have. So I told you guys earlier that one day I would love to play for England, and you know, this is my dream here on the wall. And like, I mean, in the beginning, what I used to say is that one day I want to see a Muslim woman playing for England. I want to sit down on a sofa with my tea, you know, I love my tea, my Earl Grey especially, just sipping on some tea and watching England playing and see a Muslim girl representing England. So that's why I got this illustrated. So it actually wasn't meant to be me, it was just meant to be any Muslim woman, right? And that was the dream. And people started to ask me, like, Z, why don't you play? Like, can't that be you? And I thought, me with 3 kids and working for the NHS, doing 12-hour shifts, how can that be me, you know? And, you know, I kept on getting asked that question. I just thought, you know, why not? It got to a point where it's actually within this year, that I've actually made that decision, because we had the whole pandemic that started, and then I was working in NHS. I was seeing people. I was working in a situation where life was touch and go with patients and stuff like that, and I just thought, life is too short. You know, you don't know what can happen within the blink of an eye. Why don't you just use your time to make an impact in this world, or use your talent or your ability to make positive change? And I thought, do you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try and do this. So they've decided to put nursing on the hold for now, just to follow this dream. And like I've said to people, like, the journey is the big thing for me. Even if I don't get there, me just saying it already has made such a massive impact. Like, there's people that have contacted me saying that they're now being active in their own lives. There's one girl that said to me that, you know, she's going to do her master's degree because she's seen that I'm following my dream. Like, things like that. Like, this is the kind of impact I want to be having, and to feel that I'm already having that impact and I haven't even gotten to where I want to go, that is enough for me already. And it's bigger than me. It's not even, this journey is not about me. It's about how many, you know, representation. If a girl, you know, young girl sees someone like me playing for England, they're going to think, do you know what? If Zainab can do it, I can do it too. And then you've got, you know, someone like my dad, like, he wasn't too keen on me playing rugby initially. He just thought rugby's for men. Like, why would his daughter want to play rugby? But then if another father saw me playing for England, he might let his daughter go and play rugby too. Do you know what I mean? So it's like a domino effect. And then not just for us ethnic minorities, for people in general, like people that have dreams that feel like they're too scared to pursue it. I can't lie to you, I'm terrified about this dream, but I'm doing it anyway. And, you know, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't happen. At least I've given it a shot. You don't know until you've tried, right? And then the women that have kids, I've got 3 kids, they're all quite young. And a lot of mums, and even from my experiences, when you have kids, you feel like you can't be physical or you can't play sports as much as you used to. So I'm hoping that mothers can see me and be like, do you know what, I've got kids, but I can still go out and be active and join a team sport, or just, you know, go for a run and things like that. And then career women, you know, obviously work to the NHS, like women that have careers and feel like they don't have time to go to the gym or be active. Hopefully I'm showing that actually you can if you really want to. So there's literally a whole, for me, I feel like I represent a lot of people, and me just doing what I'm doing it for everyone. I'm not just doing it for myself. So I guess that's where, you know, the bulldozer, I tell you about, people call me the bulldozer, and this is sort of my nickname within rugby. And I guess when you think about it, it seems like, oh, bulldozer, someone that runs over people, they're strong, they're fierce. But for me, that's not really how I see it. I don't tell people that because in rugby, you're meant to sort of behave hard and stuff. But the real reason, or the real way I see bulldozer, is that I'm a Black Muslim woman, you know, playing rugby. I'm smashing stereotypes. People don't really expect to see someone like me playing rugby. And a bulldozer is the construction equipment that smashes things, that demolishes, you know, buildings and stuff. And for me, I feel like bulldozer suits me and what I'm trying to do, because essentially I'm smashing stereotypes the same way a bulldozer will smash, you know, a building, or, you know, or anything else. So that's why I love the name. So yeah, I do like being called bulldozer, but I don't tell. I mean, it seems like a nice hard name for a rugby player, but I look at it from a different perspective.
Wow, that seems really, really interesting. Basically, I have researched into your work and things like that, and I saw that you do quite a few projects. At the moment, you're doing 2 projects, I think. Can you tell us more about those projects?
Yeah, so I had so Studs in the Mud is my first project. It's a project where, so I was on maternity leave, and I just had a thought that, you know what, because I like doing charity work in general, and I love rugby, so I thought, what can I do to merge these 2 passions that I have? And then that's how it came about. So it's essentially using rugby to help people that are from disadvantaged backgrounds. So I set it up in Ghana, so I'm of Ghanaian heritage. So it was about going back to Ghana and helping those, you know, kids and women who are less fortunate, and giving them rugby and hoping that it will empower them to, you know, be active, physical and mental well-being, and just giving them resources they need to play rugby. Because a lot of the kids that I saw, like, they were playing rugby with no shoes, no footwear, and sandals, and not appropriate, you know, things and equipment, you know, just stuff like balls, like really well pumped balls, just the basic necessity you need to play rugby. Like, they were enjoying rugby, but I just wanted to give them that helping hand. So that's how the project was set up. And, you know, when I went out to Ghana and met the kids and gave them like brand new pairs of boots, the way they were just so happy. And I'm like, this is just £20, you know, but to give it to them, it meant the world to them. And like, I just thought, this is what I want to do, like use what I love, my passion, to help people. So that's, you know, Studs in the Mud in a nutshell. My other project is Muslim Rugby, and that's sort of a new project, and it sort of stems about from my own feelings. You know how I spoke about being like the only Muslim girl in the world playing rugby and all the struggles I went through. I kind of didn't want any other Muslim girl to feel the way I did, so I wanted to create a platform or create sort of like a community of Muslim women that play rugby. It's still quite new. I'm trying to see how I can navigate it, but essentially I want there to be a safe space. Other women that enjoy rugby, want to try rugby out, and can sort of come to our platforms, a genuine online platform at the moment, to just sort of know that there's a group of Muslim women like them that play rugby, that enjoy rugby, and that we're there for them. Like if you need, you know, tips on what sports hijabs to wear, you know, for example, or, you know, how do you, you know, all the struggles that I went through, what can you do to overcome them, you know? And I kind of want it to also be for non-Muslims as well. Like if you get a Muslim woman turn up, or Muslim girl turn up, what can you do to accommodate her? Little things like, you know, helping her pick out a sports hijab, giving her a place to pray, you know, little things like maybe during the month of Ramadan, and acknowledging the fact that maybe she's fasting and training. Yeah, things like that, where that people don't really know, you know, and I want them to be aware, and so that we can just grow the game essentially. So that's Muslim Rugby, and I'd love to, what I really would love to do especially is travel to meet other Muslim women in different countries and see how they, you know, what struggles they're facing, because I don't think it's just here in the UK. I think there's many other Muslim countries, or countries in general, Muslim women in it that are playing rugby that go through the same struggles. Like we all literally go through the same struggles, and to highlight that and to make people aware so we can make it a better place and safe place for Muslim women.
No, I definitely agree. That is really inspiring to hear, and it's really great to see that, you know, you're doing all of this. Like, feel really supported as a young Muslim woman. It's nice to know. I just wanted to ask a question. Like, aside from all of like the religious or the faith sort of conversation, like culturally, like how was it you getting into rugby culturally? Because I know, like speaking from experience, being an Asian woman in sport, my family, they've been really, really supportive. I've been really lucky. They've always been really like pro sport, you know, you can do it. So I'm very lucky in that sense. But, you know, family, friends and people around my community, they would always frown upon what I'm doing, as if, oh, you're studying sport. Should you really be playing sport? It's not really feminine, you know, you should be something like a teacher, a nurse, or, you know, very women sort of labeled jobs. So how did you ever come across problems like that? And if you did, how did you sort of tackle them?
I mean, in my own household, someone like my dad, like I mentioned, that he wasn't too keen, but he just like, he didn't understand why his girl wanted to play rugby. I think that's the main thing. And I come from an African background. Sport is not really at the top of their agenda, it's not priority. It's like, if you want to be, if I said out to my dad, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, he'd be like, yeah, you know, great. You know, but sport is just like, they see it, I feel like they see it as a waste of time, but what's the benefits of it? And to be fair, if anything, it's literally probably the most important thing, because if you're not physically well, how can you even get a doctor's degree? How can you become a lawyer if your health is the most important thing? So I feel like we need to have a shift in mentality with, I feel like our generation, younger generation, they've got it, like they understand, but the older, like our parents and our grandparents and our aunties and our uncles, trying to convince them, sometimes a bit tough. And it's so crazy because within our communities, we have so much conditions like heart disease, respiratory problems, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, like so many things. And I feel like being active and playing sport can help combat those illnesses. But it's like, we don't see that, like they don't see that. I just think it's a bit of a shame. And there was a research done in general with, like, I think it was Sport England that did it on the wing, but it's fairly recent, and they notified that Muslim women are the least active in society. I'm not surprised one bit. Like, I'm not surprised that, and I feel like as a Muslim woman that plays sports, I feel like it's part of my duty to help change that. and to help, you know, give Muslim women the option to be active. It doesn't have to be rugby. Just going outside and going for a jog, you know. A lot of it is so much deeper than representation, like access, you know, making sure you have places for female only, because not everybody is going to want to be in mixed situations. There's a lot of Muslim women that want to have a women's only class, you know, or team. So we need to take all of that stuff into consideration. But I think that the Ghanaian Muslim community that I grew up in, they have been, it's unusual for them. It's really unusual for them, for someone like me to come from that community, but they are really happy for me. They're really proud of me. They support me, which is something that is so nice, because I never really thought that I'd get that sort of response from them. I think maybe because of I thought if my dad felt that way, maybe that everyone else looking to felt that way, but actually they don't. So, you know, they've been really supportive, and I'm actually going to an event in August, inshallah, which is basically they're going to get a group of inspirational Ghanaian Muslims to come together to inspire the next younger generation and to talk about their successes and just be a role model for them. And, you know, I got invited to that and I thought, that's amazing, you know, like for them to feel like I could potentially inspire someone else in the community, then I guess, you know, that's an absolute honor.
I definitely think that nowadays people are coming more like in terms with you know, like Asian communities, African communities, with girls being involved in sport is become more of a common thing. But back in the days it was really, really rare, and it's nice to see that people are more accepting, because as you've said, that's the way it should be. And not only I think sport helps you physically with like illnesses and stuff like that, but it's really good for your mental health, because a lot of the time, you know, life it's not the greatest, things happen, and you know, work, family, loads of commitments and stuff like that, your head is scrambled, and just being to get on the rugby pitch or, you know, rowing, netball, like that can clear everything out. Like problems might not go away, but you will feel a lot better about it.
Okay, let's go.
This is so annoying. I can't believe you just cut off in the middle.
What were we speaking about before, Isha?
I was just sort of saying how like sport can just be really good for your mental health as well. I think it's very like goes hand in hand, mental health, physical health, and that it just makes you happier in general as a person. You see things differently. I think it boosts your confidence as well. You feel better about yourself. So it's got so many benefits, and I just wish more people knew about it, because I feel like a lot of people just see it as a waste of time. Like, you know, that time that you're spending training or something, you could be studying, you could be, I don't know, doing better in your degree and things like that. But I think slowly we're getting there though. So hopefully it'll get to a point where it's looked at as a good thing.
Yeah, hopefully.
I guess one of my questions would be, you know, your first ever training in university, how can you just like walk us through what happened and how did you feel through every new thing that you've done with them at that point?
So I think like I was very nervous, like going to meet the team for the first time, meet the coach and everything like that, because I already had my you know, like just my worries about whether or not how they will see me. And I think I don't think it's something limited to Muslim women. I think in general, like if you're starting a new team, you're going to be nervous, like obviously. But I think I had that added pressure because of my identity and knowing that I'll probably be the only Muslim there, and I was. So that added pressure. So I mean, when I remember like going there, and once I met the team, everybody was really friendly. Everybody came, said, "Hi, you're right," you know, shook my hand and just say, you know, like introduce themselves to me. So that really helped calm my nerves. And then like as the session went on, I think it just, the passion, the love of the game really helped as well, because I mean, it's already going to be tough meeting new people, but knowing you want to be there because you love the sport, so that helps make it easier. And yeah, it was fine. You know, I think this first session was good enough to make me want to come back, I guess. So it must have been good. Yeah, I don't remember it being any negative experience. It was actually quite fun, and I couldn't wait to come back the next day, the next training session.
You know those butterflies you get when you first join a new team? Was that the same, I guess, when you went into, I think, Barnes RFC?
Not really, actually. I think uni nerves was more, I think, because after uni and after knowing that I could wear the hijab to play rugby, I was much more confident within myself. So nerves, yes, I guess. I mean, with Barnes, I was playing for a team in East London called Millwall. Before I joined Barnes, I was playing for Millwall, but I used to train with Barnes pre-season. But I wasn't playing for them. I was just training with them before the season starts. So when I actually moved to Barnes, it was fine. It literally just stopped because I already knew the girls. Even though I wasn't playing for them, I still knew them. So that was an easy transition. And actually, I've never felt more welcome at a club than I have at Barnes. So yeah, Barnes will definitely always have a place in my heart. Like even during last year's Ramadan, they made like a video for me, and obviously I'm the only Muslim in the team, and they did like a short, like 1 minute video of everyone just saying Ramadan Mubarak, like people from the club and the club chairman, the players. And I got so emotional because no one's ever done that for me. There's no, I've been to few clubs before Barnes, but no club has never gone out their way to create a video for me. And that just made me feel so welcome. And Barnes are amazing. And I'm actually not playing for them anymore at the moment, but they will definitely always like hold a special spot in my heart.
You mentioned Ramadan. Did you like train during Ramadan? And if you did, like, how did you, I guess, keep your fitness up during that time?
I definitely trained during Ramadan, but what I used to do is train as close to iftar as possible. So for example, luckily rugby training is in the evening, so with about being out of training for about 40 minutes, then I get to break my fast or something. So around less than an hour, about 45 minutes into training session, I can come off, have my dates, have my water, and break my fast. So it wasn't that difficult, to be honest with you. It was actually all right. So I used to just train close to iftar time. I used to do things like make my wudu during the day a lot, just to help, hydrate myself and my skin. It just made a massive difference, just making wudu, like, especially if you're fasting and the weather is quite warm. Or even if the weather's not warm, there's just something about making wudu that just makes me feel refreshed. So that's one thing that I do quite a lot, especially when I'm training a lot during Ramadan. And then also like being careful of what I eat. So especially like for suhoor, I would eat something that's like slow releasing energy, such as like oats or something like that, that will keep me for a long time. And then avoid like fried foods and stuff, because that will just give me like short bursts of like satisfaction, then it'll just make me feel sluggish and lazy. So being careful what I ate during fasting really helps with my training.
Okay. I think we're coming up to, did you want to say something?
I've just got one more question for you, actually. I feel like, as you've said, you like being busy. It sounds like you've got a crazy busy schedule with 3 kids as well. I can just imagine how crazy it must be. But like having all of that going on and actually going to training as well, how do you motivate yourself? Like, how do you keep on top of it? Because I know there's some days where I just look at the weather, or I just go, oh, today I can't be asked, As much as you love the sport, sometimes your body just you can't get yourself to do it. So how do you tackle that?
That's a very good question. And I think you have to, I feel like for me, especially with the stream that I have, you have to, motivation is not going to cut it at all. Like motivation is fleeting. One day you feel up to it, next day you don't feel up to it. I think the next step after that is discipline. And just like how, us Muslims, we pray and we fast, if we can't just say, oh, I don't feel like praying today, I don't feel like fasting today, I'm not going to fast. It's discipline. We do it because, it's part of our faith. We're worshipping Allah. And okay, you might not feel like praying, but you're going to do it anyway. So I feel like that analogy, for someone like, I think if you don't have like a straight goal, like you want to play for your national team, have thing, then you can I guess you can get away with being like, I don't feel up to it today. But I feel like with me having this big dream, discipline is what's going to get me, and knowing your why is the biggest thing. Like, you need to know why you're getting up so early. You need to know why you're going to push yourself out the door when you don't feel like it. So knowing your why is I can't stress that enough, because when you don't want to, your why is going to get you up to do it. And then there's the other side of the spectrum where, let's say you literally physically can't, maybe something's wrong with your mental health at that point, or your body's just not up to it. You do need to make the conscious decision and be sensible. So it's sort of like, there's a balance. There's a I can't be bothered, and then there's a I really can't. So you need to make a decision. If it's you can't be bothered, you need this, that's where discipline is coming, and be like, you need to get bothered and go out and do it. If you literally can't because maybe your mental health is suffering, or you physically can't, then that's fine. We're all humans, you know, life happens, and it's okay to be like, I can't go training today, you know. You need to put yourself first. And I think we're seeing that a lot more with even the professional athletes, you know, being honest with themselves and their body, and they'll be like, I don't feel up to it today. I don't feel up to this tournament. I need to sit myself out. And that's okay. You know, we're all humans at the end of the day.
Yeah, no.
I think one question from me would be, if you could go back to your uni days, just to make it more, I guess, general, if you could go back to your uni days, what would you keep for sure, and what would you change, if that makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would keep my ice hockey friends. I'll keep them. Like, they're just absolutely amazing. Like, they made my uni experience what it was, and I just met so many close friends that I still speak to now. So definitely keeping a group of Muslim sisters around me that I trust and that I can go to, I'll definitely keep that. What I'll change, I think, for me is sort of, I would be more brave in owning my identity. I think that's something that I would definitely change looking back. It just, having the attitude that I have now is just, this is who I am, accept who you are, and just do what you love. You know, as long as you're not hurting people, just go out there, own your identity, and do what you love. That's what I'll definitely change. I don't think I had the guts to do it then. So yeah, those are the two things.
Thank you so much for, you know, your time. I know, like, you've got a crazy busy schedule, so it must be so hard for you to fit this one, but it's been really, really nice to hear your experiences. You know, I feel like we kind of got some good advice to how to deal with, you know, situations and stuff like that. And I'm sure this doesn't only relate to young Muslim women, it can be relatable to anyone who, you know, isn't comfortable in their own skin, or who is scared to follow their dreams. So thank you. Like, it's been really, really, really good to hear about your experience. Hopefully we can do this again sometime, because I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, I'm glad that you've actually gotten to know. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to thank you guys for you know, bringing me on here to speak on your first ever platform. I feel privileged. Your first ever podcast, to be the first guest, is an absolute honour. So thank you for inviting me on here, and I've had a really good time talking to you guys. And I think it's so cool, even just from like Muslim sister to Muslim sister, knowing that you guys are loving your sports. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on and taking the time out of your day to come on, because well, to find people so relatable like you is quite hard, I guess. So it's been really nice just talking to you and getting to know life from your perspective, as hopefully the first England Black Muslim female rugby player. I guess we hope to see you soon, hopefully at some point on TV playing rugby, representing us. Yeah,
that would be amazing. You know, I need all the praise and all the support that I can get. So yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. See you later. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.